Phoenix Down Radio is on the air.
Welcome, everybody, to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 147. I'm your host, Klauss Nightbringer, and joining me today we have a Taliz Marvelous and Seyrr Timono. What's going on?
Ooh, it's an multiple of 49. That's neat.
Oh,
the
three
squirrel
times
that is
huh?
running Seyrr's brain has decided to be weird as hell as usual.
That just means we're getting really close to 6 years.
We're getting
That's
close
still
to
neat,
6
but
years.
also
We're also
weird.
getting close to 1,000 followers on Twitch.
We've been close to
Aw.
1,000 followers on Twitch for like 2 years.
Let me have this.
Let me have 1,000 followers, for crying out loud.
We only need like 90 more or something.
Yeah, well,
Harass your friends. Don't harass your friends.
unless that's something you like to do, then harass your friends.
But also
Then
maybe
harass
treat
your
your
friends because it'll be funny.
maybe treat your friends a little better. I mean, they're your friends, right? You should be nice to them.
Well, friends are made to be harassed. No,
Wait,
that's
you
not
said
true.
we're friends.
And I harass you.
His story checks out.
So how have you guys been the last 2 weeks?
We're off to a rockin' weird day, guys. Just so you know, this episode started off the rails and only gets worse.
That's
Dude.
an average episode.
It's been really
True.
hot here, and I have been having so much trouble sleeping.
It's been hot a lot of places. We've had like 3 or 4 100-degree days in the last 2
Ooh.
weeks. Almost every day has been over 90. So yeah, not fun.
I'm so glad I live by the sea. Oh, God.
Yeah, it must be nice to have a nice regulated temperature, and but then you have to deal with all the people, unfortunately. So
How's that cost of living?
It's great, actually.
it's better
Huh.
than yours, Seyrr.
Yeah.
It's not paying a lot.
Your rent is twice as much as my monthly expenses combined. I think I'm doing all right, bro.
I
I
have
don't know if
central
they do
air,
or
so
not.
I don't care.
Mine probably isn't, but I also have unusually low rent for the area. I
And-
will save you all one of my many rants about the housing market and the price of housing.
Yeah.
It's
and,
bad.
And yes, Nicknar today was very nice in Minnesota in comparison to what we've had, but it still hit the mid 80s. But what have you guys been up to since the last episode?
I made some more submersible bits. I absolutely failed to get myself to go into Zadnor, even though I really, really wanted to. And a friend got me a game on Steam that involves solving puzzles where you're an alchemist, and I confused Klauss with it.
It looked very confusing.
I programmed that entire all the machines I showed you because you have to build and program them yourself.
I mean, it looks interesting. It's just not the kind of game that I'm used to playing.
That's
Zachtronics does good
not as
stuff.
fun as jumping off a cliff.
Hey, some people like those kinds of puzzles, like me.
And some people like jumping off cliffs.
It's true.
Yeah. See you at the bottom, Klaus. I'm coming with you.
Anything else you've been up to, Seyrr?
We're getting ready for summer learning at the library. I mean, we've already launched some of the base program, like the summer reading program and various other things like that are always a really big thing in the libraries,
Okay.
public libraries. So the actual reading program launched a week or 2 ago, but we've got a bunch of other programming that we're doing. I am helping run a thing for entrepreneurship for underestimated teens, which is a term that the partner we're working with used that I really like. Like teens who have skills but often get overlooked or don't get the opportunity to show it.
Interesting.
Yeah, those are really good hires usually,
Yeah.
historically.
And so we are going to be giving them a chance to like start their own small businesses and the like. The one that we're working with actually provides access to mentors and even a little bit of seed capital. So
Oh, wow.
I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Crazy.
Hell yeah. That sounds awesome.
It
What-
does.
What about
There's
you?
a lot of work to be done for it though.
Yeah, I'm sure. And what about you, Marvelous?
So I had a Corolla that I had picked up from one of my old bartenders that was part of the Marvelous Motors project, and I finally got enough stuff removed that I was able to take the head off the block because it needed a new head gasket. The problem is there's a head and there's a block and there's a gasket between them. What I ended up with was 2 parts to a head,
Ooh.
a gasket that was completely disintegrated, and a block that looked like Swiss cheese, not in the fun way.
Oh boy, so that sounds like it's probably more work than it's worth.
For a 4A block, technically no. However, I'm looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,500 in parts. And my average inbound to outbound car for this nonprofit is somewhere in the like $400 to $600 range. So I was like, I can't. So unfortunately not fixable, but I did get to work on it, learn a bunch of stuff, sell a bunch of parts anyway, and make some more funds. So everything else worked out fine.
I mean, as long as it didn't turn out to be a complete loss, I mean, I'm sure there were things that were salvageable on it.
Sometimes, and there are some things that are a loss. The Mazda that I got last Christmas was a loss. A few things have just literally showed up. The van caught fire the day I got it. The HHR needed 2 modules that I couldn't acquire at all, so that was toast. But a lot of stuff I have been able to get, fix, and flip out of here. I've got a Honda Civic CRX like a month and a half ago that was here for like 2 days. It needed like a fluid change and a valve cover gasket and spark plugs, and I was like, that's $100. Took like no work. It was great.
A tune-up.
Basically, just basic, straight up 2 Chris Fix videos, and you know how to do this. It was fun.
Chris Fix is freaking awesome. I've gone down that rabbit hole a few times.
He's great. That dude started his career path wanting to be a culinarian in real life. He went to cooking school, decided he didn't want to work in a kitchen till 2 a.m. every day.
Reasonable.
Then he went and got a marine biology degree and realized that the thing he liked doing was tutoring other students and helping other students learn. He liked teaching. And then he looked at teaching as a job and went, that's not me. Then he looked at YouTube 7 or 8 years ago and went, I bet you I could do something with this. And now he's Chris Fix. So obviously it worked out for him.
That's insane.
Life is weird.
Yes, it is.
Never underestimate the path. The path can be weird. The end result can be amazing.
Absolutely. As for me, I have been working on Zadnor more. The last couple of weeks, I was able to reach level 25, rank 25.
Nice.
I am working on gathering a whole bunch of components that are needed to get to the next step of the relic weapon. Holy shit. I have to gather 180 different things.
It still sounds like it's less of a grind than previous ones of the relic. Like, you have to gather a lot of stuff, but it's in a way that's a little more streamlined.
Well, it's a little better. You either have to gain them by running through CEs or fates in each of the 3 different zones of Zadnor, or you run 24-man or no normal series raid content for Alexander, Deltascape, and Eden. So, I mean, it's real easy to get the first level stuff because all you need to do, if you spam 1 and 4, those are like super fast. You know, the oppressor and the manipulator.
Yeah,
that's real super easy
Wasn't that like
stuff.
a Final Fantasy Tactics chapter title?
You're probably not wrong, but
technically it's the manipulator and the subservient, but close enough.
Same.
So I've been running that. I had to go through at work. I had to go through a presentation on ransomware. That was entertaining.
We just had one of those too.
Oh God!
Except this one is more along the lines of how to prevent it, or not prevent it, or how to best prevent it, try to best prevent it, or recover from it so you're not completely destroyed.
Yeah. Ours was pretty much about how to avoid getting hit by it in the first place.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to the individual person is more likely to be able to get away from it. A large organization, it's not if, it's when, and that sucks. And as a network administrator, it's doubly sucks. So
they are definitely listening
who is
to.
not currently in the chat. Sorry, go ahead.
They are definitely listening to any of the high priority notifications you send out to them, Klauss.
yes, they read all of my emails. I know they do. Not.
The Pirate Cats was saying the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, Pyrocats works in IT, and she had to do that with all of her with her teammates a few weeks ago. I won't get into too many details, but a lot of money that did not need to get spent got spent, and a lot of training that is common sense was not common.
Common sense is
She
becoming
texted
less
me and
less
asked where I
common.
got Chew High. She was like, "Where did you get Chew High? Also, I'm going to Costco to buy ibuprofen. Do you need anything?" And I was like, "Oh, buddy, if that's where you're at, it's not going to get better before it gets worse."
That sounds exactly like a ransomware meeting. So yeah.
When the IT department is only 4 people, everybody knows what everybody's doing. If something weird happens, it's not hard to figure out what went wrong.
Yeah, ours isn't much bigger, so yeah, it's but we're also trying to keep up with 450 different computers.
Yeah, the librarians understand the importance of data security, but for the city as a whole, it may be a bit more of a mixed bag.
Yeah, moral of the story is if somebody in your IT department emails you, just fucking read it, please.
Also, maybe like buy them a beer.
Or, you know, we take donuts too. Well, maybe me not so much.
Pyrocats can be bribed.
Well, my problem is I had too many donuts lately, so I'm having to actually start back on my my lifestyle change. I don't like calling it a diet, so to speak, but we're going back on and trying to go back and lose some more weight. So COVID was not friendly for me, and then since I hurt my back on that run, yeah, it's been a tough road.
COVID was not friendly for anyone.
Yeah. But we're gonna try.
I love how you're trying to lose weight, and I went and bought one.
I got lots of weight I can give you if you want it. Nah, wrong kind.
I'm good.
All right. But you know what? That's enough depressing shit. Let's talk about some good stuff. How about a giveaway? Let's talk about a giveaway.
Oh, yes!
You're awesome people, and we want to give you stuff.
Yes. So, last episode, you know, we wanted to hear from you guys and hear your ideas for a game genre you want to see a Final Fantasy game made for. You know, we had that whole announcement of they're going to be talking about a Final Fantasy Souls-like at the Square Enix event tomorrow during E3. And we actually
I wish we could have done the show tomorrow just so we see how that turned out.
Yeah. Well, we'll be able to talk about it in a month. But anyway, we had gotten a tweet from Zelgatus14. They immediately suggested a survival-style game. And that got me intrigued on how that would actually work. So, we want more ideas, guys. And to help get those creative juices flowing, we are going to host a giveaway where we will be giving our favorite entry a $50 gift card of your choice or $50 worth of items from the Mog Station. And we're also going to give away 2 $25 gift cards or items from the Mog Station to 2 runners-up. So, how do you enter? Email us at podcast@phoenixstormradio.com with your ideas, as well as what the base premise would be. So don't just say that you want a Final Fantasy XIV dating simulator, or no, it'd be a Final Fantasy Dissidia style. That's the one we talked about pre-show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I want every single parry to be enabled, damn it.
Yeah, I mean, so we want it like...
My Kuja Desh fanfic will come to life.
No, get out.
Well, Marvelous was talking. He wants to have Edgar versus Zidane.
There it is.
You pick who you want, and the other person is your rival, and you have to try and date everybody throughout the different Final Fantasy games. So we want to hear your ideas.
Not gonna lie, I'm not dating Rydia.
Nah, she seems like
I'm
a lot of
not
trouble.
dating Rydia. Just there's too much going on.
Like,
That
even
seems like
after-
too much work.
Clearly
No.
not beforehand, but even after the age up?
Okay, let me ask you something. As a childhood child of the 80s, I want to talk to you about a little show called Tenchi Muyo.
I never saw that.
And you know exactly where this is headed.
You haven't seen Tenchi Muyo?
Okay, well, Sasami is 9. Sasami is 9. In the OAVC is 600. She still has the same character design. The answer is still no. Okay? I'm not
Why
dating
do they
Rydia.
do that?
It's not happening. I don't know. But Tifa? Let's talk about it. Freya? I might need a shot first, but let's talk about it. Like, we can figure this out. It could be a pretty
Alcoholic
interesting game.
or vaccine?
Yes. Also, well done.
Thank you.
You know, the S rank is going to be Quina. She can cook.
Oh shit, yeah.
Quina is relationship.
Get a
goals
woman that
right
makes
there.
you laugh, get a woman that can cook, get a woman that can clean, get a woman that makes you happy. Make sure these 4 people never meet each other and you'll be just fine.
But anyway,
It is a dating sim, okay?
I know. It's
Dating
gonna be
sim.
hella problematic no matter what we do.
So be creative with your ideas. Feel free to think outside of the box, and who knows how cool your idea could turn out. And we will be announcing winners during episode 148 on July 10th.
Make it something that we will have like a half-hour discussion about. Wait, how would that work?
Yeah, that would be amazing. Plus, you got a chance to get $50 worth of free cool stuff. So yeah, we will look forward to your entries.
Oh man, now I'm having all sorts of ideas that I shouldn't say because I don't want to take away stuff for other people.
Exactly. I do like the survival game. My first thought was like, can we go like Fallout 4 style where you're trying to build outposts, and now each outpost is like you need a chocobo stable and an item and a weapon and an armor and a black magic shop and a white magic shop, and you build up your outposts. That would be cool for a survival game. I would play the crap out of that for like 20 hours and then immediately forget about it.
Or I mean, is it going to be more like a Last of Us style game, where it's
I should check into how
That would
Valheim is
also be
doing.
cool.
a horror survival style? Or even worse yet, it's going to end up being like a Resident Evil 8, and you're going to have a really tall monster lady chasing you.
I feel like many people view that as a plus.
Yeah, it's going to be Yotsuyu, but she's 10 foot tall.
A lot of people already want
I need to
Yotsuyu.
pre-order a game that doesn't exist. How do I pre-order a game that doesn't exist? I need this in my life.
See? It's that easy, guys. Just hoping we get a whole bunch of cool ideas that we can read out on the next episode.
That would be nice.
I need that, by the way. I'm gonna need that giant Yotsuyu in my life. Can we make this happen?
Oh dear.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into some game and community news. So, this was a big couple of weeks for Final Fantasy VII. Just 2 days ago, Final Fantasy VII Remake INTERgrade was released for the PlayStation 5, which includes episode Intermission with our favorite ninja, Yuffie.
Oh. They keep capitalizing that inter in part of it. It's like inter, like to bury? Is that intentional?
No, not inter.
I mean, it could be both. Like, just make the symbolism denser and weirder, and you're generally on the right track.
Though I did die a few times, if that makes sense. So.
Maybe.
So just a reminder to everybody who owns the PlayStation 4 version of the game, you do get to upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version. However, you do not get intermission as part of that. You will have to pay $19.99 to get access to that. But it's worth it.
Yeah, Yuffie. Everyone loves Yuffie.
I've been streaming that the last 2 days. Yes, I was streaming again.
Yay!
And okay,
Doc.
so I played that for a little. I think I've gotten through about most of the first mission, and it's fun. It is a lot of fun. The graphics are amazing. There's a lot of dialogue going on. So I mean, if you played the original version, there was a lot of background dialogue going on as you walked around the different areas. There's plenty of that to go around here. This is basically taking place right after the Sector 5 bombing, like immediately after. So Sector
So it's
7
like
is still
woven
there.
into the existing narrative rather than like a thing set after.
Exactly. And you will encounter the other members of the Avalanche group from the original game, remake game. So it's kind of neat to see them from a different perspective. There's not a lot of interaction, but you're working with a different cell of Avalanche when you get into Midgar.
Right. That was one of the things that was never really made that apparent in the original FF7. And even in the remake, they'd only talked about a little bit that Avalanche wasn't just this one group, that it was this entire movement with a whole bunch of different separate cells.
Yep, it is definitely a bunch of smaller groups. Yeah, it made the original game made it seem like the group you're working with was Avalanche.
Yeah.
And it was that was the only group, but it's kind of neat to see that there's that group was actually kind of an offshoot group or a splinter cell as they're referred to in this game. In that each of the different cells seems to have their own agenda, which is kind of interesting.
Not that uncommon in a situation like this.
No.
Having cells separate makes it that much easier that if one gets caught, the others can keep going. But there also they may agree with the same overall goal, but have ideological differences about the best way to approach that or what actions are or aren't acceptable in it. Like, just from a story perspective, it's really fascinating to look at all these separate ones and the divisions that can arise through them as you go.
Yeah, it's really nice to see that they're getting more in depth with the kind of the more interpolitical aspects of this type of these types of organizations. And it makes it seem more interesting than it just, okay, so you're a part of this group, big whoop. Now you've got a little bit more story behind what the group is, what their goals are. You know, it's kind of fun to see all of that. As far as gameplay goes, it's very similar. It plays very similarly to the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Well, it should. The only downfall that I see with it is the fact that you only get to play as Yuffie. You do get the addition of Sonon very shortly into the game, but he is... Oh, we got raided by underachieving Toku Sentai. What's going on, guys? Welcome. You guys don't get to hear
Also,
that.
that is a rad channel name.
I believe in you. You can achieve your potential.
Anyway, before Kefka scared the crap out of me. I mean, there's a reason why I put Kefka as the raid sound.
So you get scared?
Yeah. Well, it's also just kind of a surprising thing, so it gets a better reaction. Anyway.
All right, let's see here. Klauss enjoys fear. Good to know.
No,
keep that later.
Didn't say that.
Klauss denies his deeply held passions. We're getting a lot of good data here.
You know, me not saying anything is kind of counterproductive to having a podcast.
He's paralyzed with fear. We're doing a good job.
Continuing on with what I was saying, Sonon basically plays as a completely support character, completely driven by AI. But they have a new feature where they can synchronize with each other, and they start to kind of synchronize their attacks against certain enemies and can do actions that work together with them. In the trailers, you saw, her riding around, kind of perched on his pole, and then he would fling her across.
Right.
So those kinds of moves are what you can do when you are, kind of synchronizing with each other. It's the amount of damage you can do is devastating. The AI. Go ahead.
I wonder if there was some amount of considering, okay, do we want to add another playable character in terms of working out mechanics for stuff, working out a lot of things that would need to be done, something that could potentially kind of exist in its own right, as opposed to just in the context of Yuffie.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing is they are going to have Yuffie as a playable character in the upcoming game, in part 2. But Sonon
right,
is
so it makes sense to do that development for her.
Yeah, but Sonon only is going to be probably playing in this game. So it probably doesn't make nearly as much sense. But it kind of takes away a little bit from the dynamic of the game where you can switch back and forth between the characters that are in your party.
Yeah, that was the thought I had. Like, if you can only have the one character, it feels just like the earlier parts of the main game or stuff like that, where you do only have the one, and you lose a lot of that depth and richness that you got as you went through.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't take away enough to make it an unenjoyable experience. I mean, on the contrary, getting to see Sector 7 from a different perspective is refreshing, for one, and entertaining. The other nice thing is they've added a new mini game based off of Fort Condor.
Ooh.
Well, it's called Fort Condor, but it's kind of a little mini RTS slash what do they call those games where you put up units in order to combat other. Yeah, that's an RTS, but I'm trying to think of the
like tower defense.
Tower defense. Thank you. Yes, it's kind of a combination RTS slash tower defense. Thank you for that. And you get new boards that you can play, as well as units that you can place by going through the game. You'll find them in chests, or earn them from beating other NPCs, and it's very interesting. I played a few games.
From what I saw a little bit about it, it looked like kind of a game board sand table type situation, which it makes sense. Given the direction they've been going with this, I can't imagine that we'd actually end up having the free map roaming thing where we'd be able to go to Fort Condor, much less disrupting the flow of the narrative for that. Yeah. So this seems like the best way to actually get some kind of reference to that original content in this newer version.
And who knows? We might actually still get to see Fort Condor. Because,
But I can't imagine we do it in the same way. Like and now we are going to stop here for a bit and deploy this thing. And come back every so often for prizes.
You never know.
It feels unlikely, at least.
But, other new NPCs from Remake are in the game. Chadley is in the game again. As 7 Deadly Streamers, a.k.a. Shake, is saying. One of the first fights you get is Ramu. And he kicked my ass a number of times. He is a cheap bastard.
It's always good.
But it's
excellent.
It's so far I'm really enjoying the game. I'm only, like I said, maybe halfway through, maybe not quite, but it's definitely if you have the game for PS5, it is definitely worth investing the additional $20 if you're upgrading from the PS4 to PS5 version. Otherwise, it is included for those of you who don't have the game. If you buy it for the PS5 straight up for $70, it includes the intermission DLC. So yeah, I'll probably be streaming more of that over the next week. Maybe we'll finish it. I do want to actually jump back into the regular game as well, just to see what the differences are between the PS4 and PS5 versions. You can actually bring your save over, so you can continue on from where you're at in the PS4 version, which is very nice.
That's always something that frustrates me about remakes or upgrades or things like that. The, oh god, I have to start all over.
Yep. The only downside I'm seeing to this is because I have the physical version, I will always have to have my disc in the drive in order to play the game.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It doesn't seem to slow anything down because, well, SSD load times are like super fast. So yeah, that's
And if the disc is in and it launches, then it's fine. Because honestly, my Persona 5 Royal has been in my PS4 for like a year. Like, once it's in there, it's fine. It doesn't need to move.
I mean, occasionally, in the PS3 and PS4, you actually had to pull data from the disc. It didn't install the entirety on your hard drive. But I think with the PS5, it's the entirety of the game. And some PS4 games may be the same way. The entirety is on the disc, so it's only to verify your ownership and then jumps into play.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing they want is for you to like install it and then go give the disc to a friend or something.
Yep, that's probably the biggest thing with it. So yeah, if you have a PS5, I strongly recommend you get Final Fantasy VII Remake INTERgrade. So, yay, we did a review.
We did. Oh my god!
All right, and another little bit of Final Fantasy VII news. Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier just finished its first closed beta test on Android, and it was a pretty game. I had it downloaded on my phone, and I played it a little bit. It ran pretty smooth, and like I said, it looked nice. And that's about all the nice things I have to say about it.
Oh boy.
Gameplay wasn't very good in my estimation, or in my eyes. The worst part about it was the controls. The controls were horrible. But I mean, when
isn't it a phone game?
It is a completely mobile game, yes.
I mean, some of them have like really good intuitive controls, but like a mobile game feels like it lives or dies on that.
The biggest issue is, switching back and forth between your weapons and your loadout is slow and clunky, and trying to spin around your camera is very, very unintuitive and laggy. And I found myself really taking a lot more damage than I necessarily should have. I mean, I've played enough shooter games to know, you need to be able to basically have your head on a swivel so you can quick turn around, when you're being attacked from behind, or just to monitor your surroundings. You really can't do that, at least with this control scheme. It was very difficult to do. But the one thing is they did have a survey at the end, so I made sure to mention that I had major issues with how their UI was set up and how their control scheme was. And I'm hoping that other people had similar issues, so they're able to make changes to it and make it a little bit smoother and more friendly. Because, I mean, this isn't a very big screen to try and play, an entire game off of, including your control surfaces. I mean, if you had a like a Bluetooth gamepad or one of those devices where you could, attach it to your phone and then play below that, that might be different. But not everybody has that.
You can't expect everyone to, yeah.
Exactly. So I'm hoping that they are able to improve that. And the last thing I'm hoping is that the final game does not have such a huge thing where you need to buy things with in-game with real money, in order to try and advance. I'm hoping it's all going to be cosmetic stuff, like Fortnite or any of those other games. So
yeah, it's always tricky. The thing I always worry about with these is when it gets to the point where it's like a closed beta, like how much of the design decisions are locked in, how much can they actually feasibly change? You certainly hope they can, especially if it's something that's game breaking.
Yeah, I mean, because it's going to be very difficult. I mean, as pretty as the game is, if it plays, if it has tank controls, it's going to be, a hard sell for a lot of people nowadays. But like I said, we'll see when they get into their next beta phase. We're hoping that that it goes a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
There was also a little bit of Final Fantasy XI news. They popped up their June update. Where'd my mouse go? There we are.
God, how are they still going?
They're going and going and going.
I was trying to see if I could get 11 to run on the Raspberry Pi so I could actually play it again.
Not so good, huh?
It does work, but I have to install an actual operating system and not just an emulator bootloader, and that is a problem because now that means I have to buy another Raspberry Pi, which is not a problem except that I have a budget and this is how they get you.
Well,
Raspberry Pi is $35. Okay, case was fucking $15. I've got 2 power supplies. I have heat sinks. I have a Bluetooth controller. I have 228 gig SD cards. This was not $35.
And then you're going to need
not. But
you're gonna
11.
get like another 10 and link them up together so that you can work out the untempering spell.
Well, you could just get VMware Fusion and or Boot Camp for your Mac and
Boot Camp. It would be Boot Camp. That would be the easiest way.
Yeah, because the VMware or the virtual boxes don't do very good for hardware emulation, especially video.
Honestly, Boot Camp, Windows 7, because I don't need a copy of Windows 10. This computer's 5 years old. And 11 runs on a toaster. Like, it'll be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Effort.
But, so the Final Fantasy XI Voracious Resurgence gets their update. It's going to Aut-Ergon. So, Rauban,
Are
Cornelia.
they just going to tie in like all the expansions again?
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
So Rauban, Cornelia, and Naja are taking center stage in this month's version of it. There's a whole bunch of updates to things like Ambuscade, and there's a new login campaign where you can get a silver gun. Ooh. So, you're still playing 11? I know Nick Nar is.
Naja Salahim, forever loyal to Salahim's Sentinels, because she won't let me quit. Have you seen that, mate? You don't cross Naja. You smile and nod, and just let her add a couple more zeros to your debt.
You're not wrong.
You're not, and it makes me really upset that you can say it so plainly because it means that you're so far in that you know you can't get out.
Pretty much. Yeah, I resigned myself to it.
You're basically Geralt, and you're just completely in debt to.
This is how I live. This is how I will die.
Yeah. All right. And there was also a little bit of miscellaneous news that Marvelous was kind enough to put into the notes. So take it away.
So I went digging because, spoiler alert, I haven't played 14 since like February. I have been playing a lot of randomizer stuff, but I just needed some other Final Fantasy related content. And that led me onto a rabbit hole of book reading, and a friend of the podcast, Betty Whitemage, off of Hyperion, sent me a link to a book called The Psychology of Final Fantasy Surpassing the Limit Break. So, casual reminder for the bookworms in the universe, the book is only $17, and it's insanely good. It's a lot better than the Psychology of Blank series, which seems to be a bit more plug and play with their logic and not very in-depth. Dr. Anthony Bean asks several questions within the book, including how does playing Final Fantasy connect us with a larger sense of spiritual guidance as to who we are? And, related to us here on PDR, how do the musical interludes affect our psyche and push us to become better versions of ourselves?
I've already put it in the chat.
If you do like reading, you got the link? Sweet. If you do like psychology, if you like reading, and if you like twisting your mind ever so slightly in the good way, excellent book. It's on my Kindle. I'm about halfway through it. We also have a link in the chat that's going to be in the show notes as well. pick up a copy. You can also get it on Kindle for like $8 or something if you are more of a digital reader. But like I said, the actual book is only like 17, and it's a nice thing to have on the shelf.
And
Next thing I found was from
full disclosure, though.
FFTCG.
Hold on.
Oh, go for it.
It is an affiliate link, so Phoenix Charm Radio will get a small kickback if you do decide to purchase a copy through that link.
I feel like we need a better word than kickback. Kickback's
We do.
fine.
You know what I mean.
Kickback's fine.
3
We
whole
appreciate you
cents.
helping to support the show. It supports the show.
There we go.
Yep.
Buying
Three-
through our affiliate link helps support the show.
3 whole cents.
Ooh, Pyrocast
man.
is suggesting buff.
Yes. You buy from that link, it will buff the show.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Anyway, next thing digs into the thing that used to take my money before I started buying cars, which is the Final Fantasy trading card game. Opus 14 Crystal Abyss is coming out on August 6th. Talk to your friendly local game store and pre-order. They probably will sell out of pre-release kits and everything else because they have been for the last like 5 opuses. It features a bunch of super cool new art. There's also a list of about 12 new artists within this specific opus. So if you like art, the FFTCG is very good for that. Notable additions to this one include full art versions of previous cards from other opuses, including the Emperor from Final Fantasy II, Wall from Bravely something or another, one of the mobile
Mobius.
games. Mobius, that's the one. And the full art version of Estinian. And this is the good Estinian, not the stupid ones for S abilities. This is the good one that buffs all of your Dragoons. So for anybody that has played Magic before, it is a Lord effect, and it is awesome, and you want it. So they're being brought back as legendary full arts. The War of the Visions Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is also going to have some cards in this expansion. They are actually added to the game as a new title. So for title format, you finally have another game to build with. I wish you the best of luck. There isn't even enough cards in this set to build a title deck yet, but someone's going to find a way to do it anyway. Please send me the list. I want to play it. One new artist that we have is Lisa Fujise. She contributed something that is hands down the coolest cloud art I have ever seen. I don't like 7. This is the coolest cloud art I have ever seen. It's not a full art yet. It probably will be because it's so good. Yeah. His eyes are glowing blue from Mako. I showed it to my FF players the other night, and they were like, and everybody that has seen Bleach is just like, so I know what inspired this artist to start drawing, but it looks like a Zanpakuto, like, and he looks rad. So check out Klauss. What squad is he on? Anyway, but yeah, there's a link that we have probably in the chat by now, if not somewhere else. There it is. Of that art. Definitely check it out. It's super, super cool. I will have a copy of that card come hell or high water, which I will show up on the show. Final Fantasy adjacent news. This is where the rabbit hole of, hey, we were supposed to do E3 this week and E3 is tomorrow. Let's find stuff to do, led me. Earlier this week, Netflix announced a whole ton of new anime that's coming to their platform. Last year, they announced there was a whole bunch of studios that they had signed up with, and this is kind of the start of the, hey, we actually produced things, and we're going to be releasing them soon. Netflix announced a series called Exception. It's a horror anime, it's set in space, and the general premise is explorers and terraformers are going to other planets in deep space, and the people that are the terraformers are printed using biological 3D printers, which sounds terrifying and weird. And the monster art is absolutely bone-chilling scary for all the promotional materials. So why in the world do we care? Because all of the character designs and all of the monster designs are done by Yoshitaka Amano. Yes, the actual...
Nice.
Yoshitaka Amano, famous for doing Vampire Hunter D book covers, among other things. Yeah, if you've been around Final Fantasy long enough, you've definitely heard that name before. So we get to see Amano art animated.
Nice.
I don't even care what the plot is. I want to watch a mono art getting animated.
This is a still image, and it's already deeply unsettling.
I did use the term bone chilling for a reason.
Yeah, I'm closing this window now.
It's good. Yeah, good.
I suppose I should link that.
Don't leave that open. If you open your laptop and that screen is up, it's not my fault. But I linked one of Danica's articles over on Anime News Network. Definitely check them out as well.
So yeah, I mean, since all the good news is coming tomorrow at like noon my time, that covered. We don't get to say how cool the new Souls game looks like, or the news on Final Fantasy 16 or 7 Part 2. So
we haven't even confirmed that. Like, it's still rumor status.
It's pretty. It's still a pretty. It came from a very reputable source.
It's a fairly solid rumor, but I always hold off, especially because if it's been passed through enough people who have added their own interpretation, or obviously it will have this. Well,
obviously.
I may just be jaded from the number of things I've heard people say are definitely canon in the lore community.
You could have stopped at saying you may just be jaded.
Accurate.
But we love you anyway.
Oh.
So yeah, that is all the news we could find. If there's some interesting stuff that you found, you can always hit us up on our Discord channel and link it there where we can discuss it. How will we put a link to that Discord channel so you can join us, and we have a lot of interesting conversations that go on in there, so stop by and hang out. Always a good time. So like I said, we don't have a lot to discuss this week, but we talked a little bit about what we got in patch 5.55 in the last episode, but this week we're going to kind of take the spoiler tags off of the storyline, and we'll discuss what all we actually got to see in part 2 of the story, the ending storyline for Shadowbringers. Seyrr?
Yeah, just 3 quests, but there was a lot packed into those 3 quests. Where to start?
Lots of good stuff there.
Yeah. I guess we could start with the first of the 3, the company we keep. We've been pushing towards a lot of the unification with the beast tribes, and we finally got it. Another meeting of the various alliance heads at Alamigo, this time with seats at the table for the Beastmen. Not literally, several eagle-eyed people pointed out that the table had no chairs for the Beastmen. Which, okay, a couple of them float, and I don't know what the Ananta would have done, but they could have had a chair for the Ixal or the Amalja or something. Realistically, I'm pretty sure they just don't have anything for those models that would have them sitting or stuff like that, and it's more a technical issue than anything else. Rather than any type of actual story reason for it, but it was kind of entertaining. So we have been, of course, moving towards that as ever since we discovered the cure for tempering. And as part of that, the unexpected bit, at least for me, was the revival of a concept that we had not seen back since the 2.45-ish days. I forget exactly when it was. Alphino's dream of creating a grand company for Eorzea United.
Crystal Braves 2.0.
Yeah, this time with some lessons learned.
Yeah, we don't...
A few, I hope.
Yeah. So we did, of course, have that. Seeing the tears welling up in his eyes was just like a really sweet moment. He's come so far. Ever since those days where he was just like poking along on the road, trying to gather firewood, not be completely useless.
So did you choose the name, or did you let Alice blurt the name out?
I let Alice go ahead and do it. I was like, this would be a completely inappropriate time to be a space case, but it'd be funny. Also, I suck at naming things. Like, personally, I struggle with it. So it's like, you know what? We're just going to go with this. Not everyone can come up with the perfect bon mot when the situation demands. It happens.
Well, if you think about it, the Grand Company of Eorzea is it's more than Eorzea now, because we've got Eorzea, we've got Othard, we've got
Yeah.
so
Doma, we've got everybody.
But yes. So we are now putting up for once a truly united front against the Garlean threat, the Telephoroi threat. The two are kind of intermelded at this point. And yeah, especially it took me a moment to realize that quest name, The Company We Keep, being about the creation of this new grand company. Hopefully the one that we are going to keep. Though, of course, gameplay-wise, we are still members of our one of the original 3 grand companies. There is not like a separate thing with different. This is more like a kind of symbolic thing rather than okay, you're now a member of this and this is your rank in it kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a level up of the Eorzean Alliance.
Yeah. You might also think of it like a United Nations kind of thing, except definitely a bit more like, okay, there's actually a specific military focus to it.
Seyrr, I have a reference for you.
Yes.
Do you remember the original Iron Chef?
Very vaguely.
There was 3 chefs that were the greatest chefs in the world or whatever, and then there was like a 4th chef, and everything in the set was very obviously built for 3 people, and then they just kind of shoehorned the 4th guy in because they needed another cast member because they ran out of stuff to do.
Right.
This is the Iron Chef Italian version of the Grand Company. It just sort of gets added to the side.
Cold. That is mean to Alphino.
That is mean to everybody, and I don't even care.
Yeah. But yes, it's more symbolic than a thing that at this point has a gameplay impact. Though maybe they'll give us like a new outfit as like a quest reward or something later on. I don't know.
I liked Iron Chef Italian, by the way.
Yeah.
Dude, he's actually pretty solid, but it was just so janky.
Yeah, it was Hiroyuki Sakai, wasn't it?
Masahiko Kobe.
Masahiko
Don't worry,
Kobe?
I'm already
Okay.
coming up with terrible images for stuff.
There's too many different Iron Chefs. I get them all confused. But I remember Morimoto and Chen. Chef Chen was awesome. Anyway, before we get down our Iron Chef rabbit hole, which we could easily go down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This would be a delightful distraction, but...
Yep.
So, after that, Alphino, of course, has been asked as part of his role in this to provide a report about the original Crystal Braves and the lessons learned from that so that they can avoid repeating those mistakes in the next time around. Which he mentioned that he's actually been writing this report the entire time anyways. Like, dude reflects on his mistakes a lot. He's very thoughtful. Also, maybe a little self-flagellating.
God, he's a nerd.
This has never been in doubt. Never. So for that, the end of that quest and the start of the next one has us going around to talk to previous members of the Crystal Braves, both those who stuck around for the and stayed with the Scions and stuck around for the next incarnation, and those who left. To the ones who left, Alice and Graha talked to, just to get a little bit more of the okay, what about this sucked? And we just get a little bit more plot exploration of, okay, what was it? What was the things that worked about it that made people stick around? What were the things that didn't work that made people decide to just give up after the original one broke down? And a lot of it ends up being about the idea of united in this common cause. Those who were in it because it's like, okay, this is a neat job opportunity. They're doing the money, they're doing the fame or the like. They're not as much sticking around. Those who really believed in the mission were the ones. And so, like, united in purpose, which seems like this thing that they really want to get to as we're coming to this big climactic showdown, having all of the peoples of Eorzea, of Othard, of all those other ones, like, kind of united in this common purpose, having the same goal. Like, it's an interesting little theme to touch on and explore a little bit, and I hope they'll do more with that. As we're finishing up that report, we find out for the Twin Adder that Charlene has finally sent an envoy to respond to the formal request that the Eorzean Alliance had made for assistance with this whole Telephoroi, Lunar Primals thing. Which, I mean, I think the expectation had been that we'd send a request and there would be no answer, and that would be their answer because that's the Charlayan way. But no, they actually sent an emissary to respond. We hustle our way over to the Lotus stand to meet the the most punchable person of the next expansion.
He's not
The
wrong.
Levier patriarch, Forchanal. We saw him in the trailer. Dude has resting bitch face something fierce. Like, I don't know what's going on behind the eyes, but he just permanently looks kind of angry. And he has not really, like, he is in part carrying the message of the entire forum, but it seems like it's something that he holds to himself. No, we don't actually believe this is the final days. He made an interesting comment about we would know if it was, and that one really has gotten a lot of attention paid to it, and a little bit of curiosity about if Charlayan knows something that they're not telling us. I mean, they almost certainly do, but what exactly it is they know that they're not telling us?
They're the ones that are doing all this.
I mean, that's one possibility.
I really hope that it's not true, but the way they're acting, it's they
now,
just...
and of course, in addition to the representative of the forum, Charlayan's ruling body, he is also Alphino and Alice's dad, and Louis Sua's son, of course. Alphino and Alice, he does ask them to go ahead and return with him, or less ask and more say, like, hey, it is time to do this. Like, you've had your explanation, you've had a thing here, but you need to start growing up and being an adult about this.
Playtime is over.
Yeah. And they very strongly disagree. They've spent their own time out in the world. They've come to conclusions that are much more like their grandfathers than their fathers. And we had always seen that he didn't like the fact that they were going, but he also respected their ability to make their own choices on this. But this time around, he is a lot less forgiving, especially once they start actively challenging him about his stance on it. And once we start joining in, the man disowns both his kids.
Yeah.
A lot of people are so mad at him about that. A few are wondering how their mom is going. That side thing, in one of the little bits of banter beforehand, the kids have been writing to their mom. So they're anime protagonists, but that have both parents alive. That's like weird, right?
A little bit.
Don't trust it.
There's a lot of speculation about if the mom may be instrumental somehow in getting us into Charlayan, or in helping us in our stuff there. Or if maybe she's down with all this. Who even knows? Oh, but yes, we get a fiery denunciation from Forchanal, leaves making it very clear that Charlayan will not be helping in this, that they will be maintaining their stance, that theirs is not to be involved, but simply to observe. Reminded again of a bit about the New Year's poem that we got, where it's taught that it does seem more and more likely is going to be from a Charlayan. In fact, possibly from Forchanal himself. Let me find the text of that again. Here we are. From the Journal of a Resolute Man. Our progeny may never know, wherefore we look unto the sky, nor why we dig for truths below. We bear their scorn or watch them die. Although it's still a little bit murky, general consensus is that a likely interpretation is that this would be someone from Charlayan, possibly Forchanal himself. Charlayan astrology, of course, the looking to the sky, and the digging for truths below. We have things like the Antitower dug to actually observe the ethereal sea, and this idea that, hey, they're like looking to all these different places observing, and that this is something that's just really important. We bear their scorn or watch them die. They are absolutely convinced that this is the correct route for things. Which again makes us wonder, is there something that they know that we don't? The fact that we talk about the final days are upon us and they say we would know if it was the final days. It's like, that is not the answer I would have expected.
Yep. How
But
can
yeah,
they be
a lot
so
of people
certain of
start
these
hoping that.
things? How can they be so certain of these things?
Yeah.
Are they just that, full of themselves?
It's possible. They might be just like that supremely arrogant or mired in their traditions. They might have been misinformed or even like being deceived by some Asian influence or some other thing. They might legitimately know something that we don't. And they're like, if we tell them, they'll just muck it up. We don't know. And it really is feeling a lot more like, okay, there is something that we're missing in here. We are going into this missing something important. Like, it really feels like we know that there's something important that we don't know. And that would probably change how we're treating this if we did know it. At the same time, I don't think we would be the warrior of light that everyone knows and loves and reveres and occasionally tells rumors about pants stealing if we didn't go into it anyways. I still love that whole
Forgot
Stealer of
about that.
Pants thing.
I
Stealer
totally
of
forgot
pens.
about that.
The rumor mill did it. I swear, the first time I saw that line, I was like, oh my god, someone saw me! Oh. But yeah, even the disowning has just made the Levier twins that much more resolute in their path. A lot of people are saying like, okay, this means we can adopt them, right? I mean, I feel like,
Do we want to?
I mean, like, Alphino's like reasonably non-offensive.
Nah, I would take Alice over Alphino any day.
She would destroy everything.
But it'll
Can
be
you tell them
interesting.
apart?
Shit. What if they do a twin switch? Estinian couldn't tell.
It is Estinian, though. He's kind of...
No, it is a running joke thing that if not for the distinctive outfits, it is in fact, lots of people have trouble telling the two of them apart. They are definitely not sensitive to this in any way.
No, not at all.
Oh. So we do it does seem like we're resolved not just to keep going on this path, but to actually visit Charlene, see if we can find more information. Kryl and Graha do seem to be searching for an avenue that we can use to get in. That's something that will probably be resolved as we start off Endwalker. We get the... I would expect that we'll get a report back about, hey, we've discovered this means by which we can get you in.
Yeah, there's probably a good chance we'll be in Charlene pretty early on in the game.
That's kind of my expectation. Oh. So yeah. But at the end of that, we're kind of in the same position as we were before. It is not going to be Heidelin United, or at least greater... the greater three continents, but Eorzea, that's going to be standing against the Telephoroi. So that brings us to our last quest, Death Unto Dawn. I'm still not 100% sure of the meaning of that.
It's the name of the patch.
Well, I mean, yes, that, but what that path name actually means. Anyways, as we're discussing the implications of this, we get interrupted by a messenger reporting that the Telephoroi has charged through Zelfatal, taking Ixal captives as they go. They have already continued on, moving towards Kurthus, which Asgardian troops are moving to try to intercept them, but it seems like their goal is not Ishgard, but somewhere else. The group quickly figures out that their actual goal is going to be the Cartano Flats.
They want to play some PvP.
Woo!
Well, at least the map got some use again.
Yeah. I really like a lot of those. I really wish I could explore them in a little more depth and look around. Pretty much the only time you can is during the PvP match, and I do feel bad about just like leaving my team to do whatever just so I can explore. Plus, of course, if you get attacked by the other team, that keeps you from actually like observing too much.
You can't say, I'm a Crystal Brave, I'm not one of the other three.
I'm neutral. I'm a medic. They know to target the medics first.
Crap. Run away.
Oh.
Anyway.
But yes. So as we prepare to move out to Cartno, we do get one of my actually favorite scenes of this set of 3 quests. Fordola, who I am more and more convinced is one of the best characters of Stormblood. Don't at me. Or you know what? At me. I would totally have that argument. But
she is the best character of Stormblood.
At FFVII SEYRR on Twitter.
Fordola is fucking fascinating as a foil to several different characters. As a anyways, I will not go into that right now. But she has showed up in Gridania to do something a little unexpected. She has brought a visitor with her. Against medical advice, she has snuck our good friend Arenvald out of the Frontistery ward to have one last little talk with Alphino. Sneaking him out against medical advice is absolutely a Fordola move, and I was just like, aw, that's so perfect. Also, I hope this doesn't have implications for his recovery. It probably won't. At least it's not going to make it any worse than it already was.
Maybe.
Because Arenvald comes to us in a wheelchair. He is conscious, he's talking, but he has been told that he may never walk again due to the injuries that he sustained in the tower. And so he and Alphino have one last talk, kind of exploring this idea of like this dream and this goal being passed on to another person, how the other Scions who were killed in the various raids, he took on the thing for them. He's now passed it on, what the nature of a hero is. They have this just really nice touching chat that kind of gives Alphino the resolve that he needs going into this battle. I don't really feel like I can do it justice summarizing it, so I'm going to say just go ahead and watch it. This is a cutscene that is worth not skipping or that is worth going back and watching, because it's just like a really good moment. Oh. And with that finished with, we prepare ourselves for the last solo duty of the expansion, which, oh my god, what a goddamn amazing set piece this is. As the entirety of the Scions take to the fields of Cartno to engage the Telephoroi, whose ranks have been swollen with tempered soldiers, beastmen, Grand Company members, all sorts. It's a kind of brother against brother, a confused melee where you can never quite tell which of them are going to be on your side. Except for the ones in Garlean uniforms. You know they're going to be against you. And it becomes this, you get this really beautiful, amazing set piece that at various points switches to a tactical map to show the different units that you've broken up into. Because with everything going on, there's a lot to be handled, and so the Scions break into several groups to engage the enemy, to protect various objectives, to start untempering people. There's a lot going on in there. We get several role-playing segments. I believe with this one, every active member of the Scions at the point that they had started introduced the role-playing segments, we have played as every single one of them once. Because let's see, we do get a Y'shtola sequence, we get a Urianger sequence, we do get an Alisei sequence. So those are the 3 that we had not had a... Wait, I think
we had Y'shtola in the past.
We had Y'shtola before. Did we have another? Because we had Urianger, we had Alisei. I could have sworn there was another one before the Warrior of Light.
I think it was just the 3.
Okay. And at that last one, it's like, okay, it is probably the Warrior of Light, but part of it was like, maybe it will be in this segment, he will play as whatever, while the Warrior of Light is just doing Warrior of Light things. On reflection, that it probably makes more sense to let us be us for the biggest climactic battle. because as we move about the battlefield, responding to various units, we find that the Telephoroi are attempting to release damage and destroy ethereal nodes that are going to set off a chain reaction to create effectively the magical equivalent of a nuclear explosion.
They're basically going to take all of the different ethereal energies that are congregating within the Cartno Flats, and it's basically going to create a chain reaction. It's going to push out throughout Eorzea and basically destroy the entire planet.
Right. Like, at least that's our best guess. It's not like we have a lot of time to do analysis.
No, we have to kick some ass to keep it from happening.
So yes, going around, jumping between several different teams.
And yes, Taliz, you should play this game.
Yeah, no, this is a...
It sounds interesting, finally!
It's really good.
It is a really well done set piece, just like as this big climactic conclusion to the entire thing.
Especially if you enjoy the role-play segments where you're playing as one of the other characters. If you enjoy that part of it, it's a lot of fun, because like I said, we get 2 segments of that plus our fight against one of 3 different lunar primals.
Yeah, there several lunar primals are engaged in there. The lunar Odin one is causing people to ask a fair number of questions, because for the others we have they captured people of whatever one and made them do the thing that makes a lunar summoning.
Yeah,
but Odin
how did
summoning
they pull
was
Odin?
a weird Odin summoning is a weird special case that has me wondering how they did it. But you know what? Rule of cool, we're not worrying about it right this moment.
Yeah, in that case, yes. But just getting back to the whole Odin thing, the primal is the sword, correct?
Yes.
And the energies are based off of the last person who defeated, at least the mechanics in the game, the last person who defeated the summoned primal, it takes on their vestige.
Not quite that. It's more like it grabs them for use as a host.
Okay, but I mean, well, in the game, it's the copy of the person who dealt the killing blow.
Yeah. Is it because story-wise, whoever touches it, because it's such an ethereally dense, powerful, yada 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 thing, whoever touches it is effectively immediately tempered and goes off to wield the sword. Which is why gameplay-wise, it looks like one of the last person who defeated it, because like there's sort of they defeated it and then picked up the sword and then became the new Odin.
Okay.
I do remember once encountering an Odin that was me. That was pretty entertaining. I had not known that I'd gotten the killing blow the last time Odin was up.
Yeah, I haven't killed Odin in so long.
It's been ages. But so yeah, the existence of Lunar Odin is a little weird given the other stuff we know about how they're making lunar primals, but whatever, I'm sure they'll handwave that later.
Gray Honey Badger saying in chat, and that is why you wear gloves when touching dangerous artifacts.
Exactly.
That way the
One of my
glove
players picked up a sword that they didn't know had power, and he then immediately tried to kill the party and killed himself. So, just be careful when touching
Always a
dangerous
fun
things,
time.
please.
Oh.
Anyway.
But yeah. So yeah, big set piece for that. Lots going on there. Concludes with a little bit of discussion about what the Telephoroi's aims are, and then everyone, for some reason, looking up at the full moon in the background. And then a switch over to a scene over in Garlemald, where Xenos and Fandaniel make a number of cryptic comments that, again, everyone is merrily working to attempt to interpret. Given what we know about the fact that we're going to the moon, that the moon is the thing that Zodiark was encased in, or put in when it was kicked out of the planet by Hydaelyn, a lot of the other stuff like that. This feels like a lot of foreshadowing that we're going to explore once Endwalker comes back. Including, of course, one last little poem to close out things. And then credits roll. And then there's a little bit more because we haven't actually gotten the quest complete yet.
True.
Oh, there is nothing special in the credits. I stayed to watch the whole thing. Not because I was looking for anything in the credits, but I'm the kind of person who stays in the movie theater until the lights come up. They worked hard and they deserve to have someone recognize them.
Fair.
And yeah.
I would have watched the entire credits, but I think I had something else I had to do, and I didn't have the time, unfortunately. So, but yeah, no, most of the time, at least with this, I do watch the credits because there's usually a little bit of entertainment, throughout them, as well as you kind of get the montage of the different images as well.
Yeah, there's lots of some of the artwork, some of the reminders of all the different things we went through. And especially as we're moving into this thing that's kind of this big culmination that they've been emphasizing over and over. I mean, look at the Endwalker trailer and how they reference the leitmotifs of all of the other expansions in the music or other things like that.
Yep. Though, Pyrocats in the chat saying reaching the end of the arc in Naruto or whatever anime you're watching. We're close. We're close to the ending of the arc. We have 6.0 yet until we actually end this story.
Yeah. So I mean, again, a little I talked about the previous patches as being kind of a table setting type thing, and it's okay, this is it. This is the last little bits to set up, all the last little things, having everything in place for that.
Yep, the pieces are in place. The board is set. We are ready to finish our final chess match.
The players are treading the boards, and the play is ready to begin. Fandaniel's melodramatic enough. I could see him as a Kuja stand-in. And Grahatia is a Dash stand-in. My fanfic's coming true after all.
No, your fanfic is dead.
I haven't actually written it. I just came up with the most crack parody I could think of off the top of my head. But now it is canon.
What do you do with this guy?
Well, don't indulge me. I learned the wrong lessons from it.
But is it November yet? I really kind of want to play Endwalkers.
Oh,
I want to play Endwalker.
It's gonna be. I'm so hyped for it. It's gonna be amazing to see how this story actually ends. But yeah, that is the end of 5.55 and the final storyline of Shadowbringers. Oh, so that's a lot of stuff that we've been through over the past 2+ years. So
yeah, when I was looking at the patch notes, because even though they don't give the names, they at least list the with question marks. I was only 3 quests, but there was a lot to those 3 quests.
Yeah, because we had to in that last battle scene, we had to fight not only Lunar Odin, but we had a Lunar Ravana, and then we had Lunar Ifrit. Yeah. I wonder if we're going to see more Lunar Primals in the beginning of Endwalker.
Or it might be something that shows up from time to time. I mean, one of the things, of course, is that there are so many primals that could exist. If looking at the stuff from the Sorrow Werlit, all of those weapons had absorbed various primals that had affected their combat capabilities. A lot of them from various resistances in other parts of the 3 great continents.
Yes, Gray Honey Badger saying now we need a Lunar Vox.
Oh. Please don't make any PDR host, past or present, into a primal. I can't believe I need to tell you people that.
Come on, gather all of your crystals and use the summoning energy to bring about the mommy of darkness.
Why are you encouraging them?
Because I can. Not like you listen to me
anyway.
Reasonable
answer.
But it actually, what you were talking about there, Seyrr, it actually goes even deeper when you get over into Zadnor. We see a number of the different primals and that from the Rabanastre area.
All
so
right.
There's a lot of things from 12 and Tactics.
one wonders if how much the asses, or possibly even Fandaniel, has just been popping around to teach more and more different group summoning to create more and more primals that could be then used as fuel for all these different things.
You know, it is entirely
Pyro-
possible.
A lot of people say that, and I don't know why.
Because we love your reactions.
True, though.
Apparently, my despair is entertaining or fun.
I shall give you despair.
Ooh, like Harry and David's? I love their themes.
Yes. Instead of dat pair.
That pair.
Anyway.
It doesn't quite work the same.
Nope.
Nah.
But no, and like I said, in a future episode, we will discuss more about the Save the Queen storyline. Give Seyrr a chance to go through that.
Yeah, now that we've got all the stuff to complete and put it all together, I am looking forward to seeing what they've done with it.
And it does make sense, you know, if, you know, Xenos has had any influence on what the Fourth is doing in Dalmasca. So it's possible that, you know, Fandaniel's influence is, you know, being spread throughout the different groups in the Garlean Empire.
Yeah.
Who knows? But like I said, they've become so splintered since the death of Varys. It's hard to say.
War of Succession, and then a bunch of people coming in and tampering you will do that.
Yeah.
I almost feel sorry for, not for Garlemald, but like for its people.
Yeah, just the average citizen.
Yeah.
And doubly so for those who have been basically
Dragooned in the non-jumping sense of the word.
Sure. The word I'm trying to think of is occupied.
Yes, then yes. People who are effectively dragged into the fight, who are forcibly conscripted.
And not even conscripted, but just, you know, forced to have to live under this occupation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It is not a fun time in Garlemald these days.
No. But it's interesting how this video game makes us think about all of these real world parallels and think about how, you know, not real people in these video games are having to suffer through all this. And then it kind of reminds us how real people are having to suffer through all this. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, like
video games are weird.
Good art Good art holds the mirror up to nature.
I will say towards the end of Stormblood, having to be like, we have finally freed them. However, you're never really free when you've been occupied for that long. There's whole generations of people that don't know any different, and that's not something that we can solve in one fight and a cool cutscene. So like that's, yeah, we've interacted with some of these characters for years. Watching them succeed, we get to succeed. Watching them fail, we feel that pain too. I love this game, even though I'm not playing it right now.
The biggest reason why I am so invested in this game, I mean, as much as I played 11, it doesn't have nearly as much in-depth story as 14 has had.
Like 11 has a fun story in its own right, but there's like this, and maybe it's just like having gotten older and like knowing more about the world and all the different things going on and seeing this thing that explores these questions and these topics that I have. It's like, I haven't really seen anything that really got into it in this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 11 didn't delve this deep into these types of situations, so it's kind of nice, you know. It's a
lot of stuff doesn't.
It's a very mature in that aspect game, but you know, it still has a lot of interesting and fun things. So I mean,
and then you get to have Hildebrand nonsense to take the edge off.
We need more Hildebrand.
I want Hildebrand back.
He's on the moon.
He better be.
Right?
Because let's see, last time he got pulled into a weird portal thing, and then we had like a shade of him as a gentleman of light who is very confused that occasionally shows up in the hero's gauntlet.
That's hilarious. What? Where
Yeah.
am I? Love
Yeah,
that.
like-
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Great stuff. It's reasons why we have had almost 150 episodes talking about this game.
And other games, but mostly this game.
Mostly this game, yeah. But it's
God, I don't know how they're going to finish it, and like oftentimes I would be like, okay, this is such a huge thing, like I'm worried they're gonna fuck. I'm not worried that they're going to fuck it up, but I am curious as to what they're going to do. Like, what kind of message will they explore with this?
mhm. And then where will we go after? That's I think my biggest concern is what is the story going to be like in 6.1?
I'm gonna just hang out on my island sanctuary for the next 3 patches. Thank you.
La la la.
Hey! Now I'll be able to bring a scythe to it.
You always have been able to.
Weirdly, that somehow makes it better.
I'm
I
gonna
wish
find
it didn't, but it kind of does.
I am gonna find Camo's picture of Xenocia Galvis as a farmer on the island sanctuary now.
And on that bombshell,
Oh, thank you, Internet.
that's going to do it for this episode, guys. If you liked what you heard, make sure to like, subscribe, or follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, or whatever your preferred podcatcher is. And if possible, leave us a rating or review. It does help people find our podcast, as well as lets us know what you guys think. If you really dig the show, consider joining us here live every other Saturday night at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio, and consider subscribing, where you get access to a number of subscriber-only badges and emotes, and just having a good time with us here. If you really dig the show, you can consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio, like our benevolent overlord, Rory Fenrir. All proceeds go towards growing the show, cover things like hosting costs, allow us to do some giveaways, and improve the overall quality of our podcast. So it's very helpful. But any kind of support, whether it's emails, likes, tweets, or retweets, subscriptions, whatever, it's always greatly appreciated. We love interacting with you guys and the rest of the community. If you want to catch our backlog of podcasts, you can go out to our website, PhoenixDownRadio.com. You can email us, podcast@PhoenixDownRadio.com. Don't forget to email your entries to our contest with your idea for what you want a Final Fantasy game genre to be.
Spin-off.
You know.
Let's go with spin-off. I think that's probably the easiest way to summarize.
Yep. Or Final Fantasy in a different game genre.
If you're going to suggest Monster Hunter, you better make it better than Explorers.
That's not hard to do. Explorers was trash.
Though I think 13.2 did a great job of the Pokemon style game.
It did.
It was
I
Pokemon and
Chrono Trigger Pokemon. That was fun.
Yeah, it was Pokemon Chrono Trigger and a little bit of something else. And God, so good. Oh,
yeah.
Found it.
But yeah, make sure to email us those entries, and you'll get your chance to winning one of 3 prizes. So look forward to reading those. You can hit us up on Twitter at PHXDNRadio, or you can check out all of our videos out on our YouTube site, youtube.com/PhoenixDownRadio. Shout outs. Who wants to go first?
I'll take this one because I've got some cool people to shout out, like Gray Honey Badger, who's in the chat throwing in some ideas for the contest, but you need to email us, my friend.
Podcast@PhoenixDownRadio.com.
That would be important.
Also flesh them out a little bit.
Yep.
Like, that's a good top line summary, but give us some detail.
Mhm.
Explain some of the bits.
Also going to shout out the guys that made the Final Fantasy I randomizer webpage for being trolls and making the round 1 qualifier randomizer borderline impossible. I had to fight Tiamat with no airship, no class change, My highest level spell was Ice 2 that I picked up at level 4. Yeah, that was awful.
Final
Thank you guys for
destination?
making a challenge. I did beat it. I
Wow.
did beat it, but it took like 6 days.
Ooh.
It was really hard. No black shirt, no Zeus gauntlets, no mage staff, no Thor hammer, like no magic. Basically, I like re-rolled with like 2 fighters, a black belt, and a red page just to survive. Like it was tough, but thank you guys for making cool challenges. I really appreciate it. If you want to harass me about randomizer stuff or FFTCG things or Final Fantasy tabletop games, find me on the Discord. I am Marvelous Tofu, or you can find me on Instagram, which I respond to every once in a while, also at Marvelous Tofu.
Very nice. Seyrr?
All right. Shout out to Sleep. I miss you. Come back. All is forgiven.
And Cool Air.
Yes. Shout out to my housemates for being really good sports about we had to empty out the kitchen. We had exterminators come over. That is thankfully taken care of. But they were really good about, okay, let's take the opportunity to actually clean out a bunch of things and figure out how to reorganize the kitchen, and it is much more usable now. So thank you for that. Shout out to my friend Jason, who introduced me to Hainanese chicken. I forget the exact name of it. It's not Hainanese style chicken, which I had for the first time today, and oh my god, I have a new comfort food for when I am sick.
Woohoo!
It's so pleasant and soothing, and it feels like wholesomeness. It's like chicken's, like I described pho as like chicken soup plus, and this is like more. Oh, they like poach the chicken, and then they use the poaching liquid and like ginger and scallions, and they use the poaching liquid to make rice.
Nice.
So you have like this really well unified flavor. You have like this really tender, soft chicken. The sauces on it usually have a lot of ginger on it, so it's like this really super comforting food.
Awesome.
Oh. So yes, and shout out to the chat, which has been fun and engaging, and not quite a risotto. It's more like you just use water for making rice normally, but instead of water, you just use the liquid that you were using from poaching the chicken. Like a risotto would be much more Okay, it is really, really good.
We can talk about that in the post show.
Yeah.
How can people find you?
It turns out there's a place that's like 2 miles from me that does it. I did not know it was so close. I did not know it was a thing. I did not know it was so good. They also have fried tofu, which I just love as a marriage of contrasting textures. But we'll get into food chat later. You can find me on Twitter at FF. What are you laughing at?
You.
Fair. You can find me on Twitter at FF14Seyrr. That's FFXIVSEYRR, where I post ramblings about food, fun library stuff, and retweets of the latest nonsense that Moose and the other lore mongers have gotten up to. Matt, right before an expansion, it's the prime time for like just the weirdest shit we can think of. It's great. Also, Camo is right. Merilib and Khan Isenna are totally dating. This is canon. I declare it. They're so cute together.
You're gonna have to mute him, dude.
Yeah.
There's pictures. They're very sweet. They're sparkles, and they look so happy.
Button?
You can't silence the truth.
But I can mute you. And I have. And I want to shout out to my co-hosts, the muted Seyrr and Taliz. All
did
right,
you actually mute him?
Yeah, I did. Now he's on.
Oh my god, you did. All right.
I deserved that.
Love you guys. You make it interesting. You make it fun. Shout out to everybody joining us live here at twitch.tv/PhoenixDown Shout out to those who joined me during my Final Fantasy VII intermission streams. Seven Deadly Streamers was there. Shout out to Demon Squirrels who raided us on Thursday. Shout out to Rory as always because you're just awesome. Shout out to Underachieving Toko Sentai for tonight's raid. Thank you so much for stopping by. We hope you guys appreciated or enjoyed your time here, and we appreciate you guys stopping in. Yeah, just a reminder that there will be no episode in 2 weeks. I will be on vacation, so shout outs to vacation, and hopefully
vacation, all you ever wanted,
and demonetized. Hopefully, the week that I'm up at the lake cabin will be invigorating and help me to kind of recenter and get back to a good, positive time. So, you can find me out on Twitter at PHXDN_KLAUSS. I've been trying to tweet more on both mine and the show's Twitter. If you guys want, like I said, it always helps if you guys hit us up with questions or things you want to talk about. You know, we can only self-promote so much before it gets extremely boring and non-productive. So try to avoid that.
And you have seen what I will do rather than have us be boring. You don't want that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you do. Some of you seem to think this is hilarious.
Well, you're not wrong, but you are.
There's better alternatives.
You are kind of entertaining sometimes, so we'll take it. But thank you again for another amazing episode, guys. For my co-hosts, Seyrr Tomono, for Taliz Marvelous, I'm Klauss Sniper, and wishing everybody a wonderful evening. We will see you in a month, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.